And all right, folks, friends, and fiends. Long time coming, but I finally reeled them in. Didn't really have to try too hard. Joey Mandigo, how are you? Did I say
I'm
your name
good.
properly?
It's Mandigo.
Ah, because that could have went three separate ways. Anyway, I swear to God, this is just the way I start off every show. And we're joined by Erika, my co-host, also a Texan.
Oh
Texas in the
yeah,
house tonight,
yeah.
representing.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah. Where at in Texas do you live?
I'm in Austin. How about you?
So I'm actually not from Texas. I play in Texas Hippie Coalition, but I'm actually from Denver, but I live in Oklahoma now. So
Right on, right on.
a little bit
What part of
cheaper, but
Oklahoma?
Norman, right south of
Okay.
OKC. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha, gotcha.
Ho- Home of the Sooners.
Hey, Joey, just so you know, I was gonna wear this just for you. I only wear it on special occasions because it's gotten beat up really, really bad. So let me take my headphones off. You may recognize this hat.
Oh, hey, Rita's hat. Hell
Rita's
yeah.
hat. And Rita actually gave it to me. I met Rita at an Ozfest, and sure enough, she gave me this. See,
That's
folks,
awesome.
there's
Dude, that's
Dimebag right there.
killer.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is literally. This has been through many a mosh pit. It was
that is
Slip.
a keepsake.
I gotta tell you, man, Slipknot did me in. It was a Slipknot pit that broke the front of the hat. It's kind of crispy, as you can see, not as fresh as it used to be.
Got character to it.
It's got yeah, and there's a
Yeah,
character that is wearing it right now. Uh,
yeah, totally.
The character's
Joey,
got character.
yeah. So I have this. I actually had a cowboy hat and boots when I was a kid. I have family in Texas, in Dallas, and so I spent a long
Okay.
time there. And with these guys, Pantera,
Oh yeah, I got
um,
that same shirt. That's hilarious.
Cowboys from Hell. But yeah, man, I used to go to the basement where they basically, man, born and bred and kept going. Do you remember the basement out by Dallas City Limits out that way?
How
I don't even
cool.
know if it's still there, but yeah, I was a Pantera guy, so naturally I found you. And Joey, I just got to say thank you for not just doing this, but when you came out at the show and met me, this is at the Craft House in Pittsburgh in November.
Yeah.
And what was the woman's name that went and retrieved you?
Oh gosh, I
Brenda,
think it might have been
Becca,
Audra. Might have been
Audrey.
Audra.
I think
Yeah.
I think that sounds right. I want to say thank you. Big heads up.
Yeah, every time we come to Pittsburgh, especially there, she always brings us a bunch of food. Her and her husband and her kid, they always cook for us. And I think
Oh,
that time she brought like a bunch of meatball subs, and
heck yeah.
they all know I'm a sweets guy, so they brought a bunch of cookies and all that stuff. And so yeah, I'll just awesome, man. Shout out to Audra.
That was her. Yeah, big shout out to Audra. I want to thank her so much. She did not have to go get you. And Erica, you don't know this either. But one of the many reasons why I went there to see you guys that night, I hadn't seen you yet, and I've been listening to you since the first, going back, prior to Texas. When I heard No Shame, but the story behind that, and Joey, I told you a little bit. A good friend of mine, Fred, who rest in peace, he passed about a year ago. Older guy, looks a lot like Big Dad. And he was driving his truck from the east on Route 80, and he heard an interview with Texas Hippie Coalition at the time, coming from New Jersey into Pennsylvania. And I at that point had already downloaded. I actually owned. I purchased on iTunes. This goes back, No Shame and pissed off and mad about it. And I'm like, I'm all about these guys. And Fred calls. He's like, I heard these guys on the radio. The interview was amazing. These guys are really, really good. And he's a kind of a country guy, but he loves
Okay.
his Southern blues and he loved his rock. And yeah, so he was there that night in spirit.
Mm.
How awesome, man. What a good story.
Oh man,
Yeah.
no. Well, you
Sorry to hear
guys,
about your friend, by the way, man. That's sad. Rest in peace.
he was there, man. So don't worry about that. He was there with us. And
Always.
now, Joey, again, Texas. As far some of my favorite rock and metal comes from there. Um, I don't know what you grew up listening to, but let's start with like when did you join the band?
I joined THC in January of 2021.
Okay,
So next in January next year, it'll be 5 years.
and how's the trip been?
It's been amazing, man. It's definitely been different. Lots of dynamics, lots of new experiences, lots of familiarity when it comes to certain aspects of touring and being on the road and playing that kind of music. But I definitely have had a lot of new experiences and getting getting to go to some of these places that we get to go to, and even going back to some places that I've been to before with previous bands. It's been really nice, man. And between the records that we've made and the shows that we've played and stuff, it's definitely been an adventure. It's been a good time.
Well, we want to welcome some Southern charm into the house of Kettle Whistle Radio, and it's about
All
time.
right.
And not that Eric doesn't grace us with it, but she's kind of a hybrid. She was in Pittsburgh and then went down that way, as
Okay.
fate would have it,
Yeah.
and she is a Texan now. So, and Erica, thank you for joining again too. How you feeling today, honey? You good?
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a
Yeah.
while.
Yes, it
It's good to
has.
be back.
It is.
Yeah.
Al, what do you got for Joey here?
Well, first of all, do you play bass?
I'm
Bass
drummer.
drummer. Okay. Play drums. What kind of drums do you play?
So right now, currently on tour, I play a Pearl Export, kind of bottom of the
Okay.
line, basic, gets the job done. I've gotten it to where it sounds really good. But I mean, my first ever kit was a Pearl. It was a Joey Jordison double bass Pearl kit when I was
Nice.
probably like 12 or 13. But the kit that I love playing the most, I have a Yamaha Stage Custom in 1993 here at
Ooh.
home.
Oh, nice.
It's been on almost every record that I've ever done. And it's been one of my favorite kits I've ever played. Really big, deep toms, birch shell. It was my touring kit up until 20. I want to say maybe 2017, and then I retired it from touring and just kept it at home for like local shows. But I mainly use it for recording now. But that's probably like
Mm,
my favorite kit. But main kit right now is the Pearl Export.
right on, right on. Those are two good choices there. Yeah, those Yamahas
Very,
are really nice. My cousin, she used to have a Yamaha kit, and it was very nice.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
And not just like the quality of the kit, but like it's
the
obviously a
sound.
really big and it's a really big music staple. A
Yeah.
lot of my favorite drummers I grew up listening to played Yamaha, so it was obviously very
Mhm.
appealing when I was younger. And I
Yeah.
swear I'll live and die by their hardware. Their hardware is some of the best that's ever been made. So yeah, Yamaha through and through. But I do love
Mhm.
Pearl equally as well. So it's kind of
Oh yeah.
they're fighting for my heart right now
Yeah, yeah. Two really good names there for sure.
for sure.
So, Joey, how did you answer the call? Like, how do you end up in THC?
So at the time, I was working a delivery job, delivering cookies at a late night cookie shop here in Norman called Insomnia Cookies. And
Oh, I know them.
I'm,
Yeah.
oh
Hmm.
yeah, they're the best. And so I've known some of the guys in THC before because in Oklahoma there's a really small music scene. It's kind of incestual, like everyone plays in everyone's bands, and it's a really small community. And so I knew about some of the members in THC, just hanging out with them in the past, and knew them from previous bands and whatnot. And I remember one day I got a text message from their guitar player in Nevada, and he was like, "Hey man, my singer wants your number." And I was like, "Why?" I was like, "Why does he want my number?" And I'm in another band, Locust Grove, and so I figured that maybe THC and Locust were going to do a show together, or THC wanted to collaborate with me in some way, shape, or form. I kept up with the band, but I wasn't really like a fan, so I didn't know all of what was going on. And at that time, I didn't know that they had lost their drummer that I replaced. So I was completely just out of the loop with that. And so he texted me. He was like, "My singer really wants your number." And I said, "Why?" And he was like, "Who knows? I don't know. Just is it okay if I give him your number?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't care." It's about 2 or 3 days go by, and I get a call from this Texas number, and it's Big Dad Rich. And he was like, "Hey, this is Big Dad Rich from Texas Hippie Coalition." And I was like, "Oh, cool. What's up?" Just and I've seen THC a few times in the past, and obviously I'm familiar with their music. But again, I wasn't like a diehard fan. But I still respected the band and the music and the legacy. And so I was like, "Yeah, man, what's up? What can I do you for?" And he had told me that they had lost their drummer and that he was recommended by some people, and my name was thrown into the hat multiple times as far as who they were wanting as a drummer, and he was curious if I wanted to take the position. And obviously, it was a lot to take in at first, and I was in the middle of a delivery when I got the call, which was hilarious.
Oh wow.
And so I
I am
told
not
him,
familiar.
yeah, and I want to say it was a Thursday, Friday, and I was like, "Man, give me the weekend. I'll
Yeah.
get back to you after the weekend and kind of sit on this and think about it for a little bit." And then I called them back Monday, and I said, "Yeah, man, I want the gig." And the rest is history.
Yeah, how
That's
do you
great.
say no to Big Dad Rich?
Yeah, well, it was funny when his name came up on my phone, the smart caller ID. It said James Anderson, and I hung up. I was like, I don't know who this is. And I was like, well, like if they're calling back a second time, then I should probably answer. And
Yeah.
yeah, the rest is history. So thank God I didn't decline the second call.
Yeah, no shit, man. That's amazing.
That's a great story.
I got and Erica, I know
Is
you
that how
got
you became a sweets guy, or were you a sweets guy before then?
Oh, I've always been a sweets guy, and
Oh,
I don't. I'm clean and sober. I don't drink or smoke. I never have, and so. But one of my, and it sounds silly when I tell other people, but one of my vices is sweets. I can't ever stop
yeah.
eating them, no matter how hard I try. It's like I take a break from it, and I end up going right back to it. So I'm a sweets guy through and through.
What's your favorite sweet thing to eat?
I love peanut butter. Anything peanut butter and chocolate, I'll tear up.
mm,
Um,
Amen to that.
Yeah,
Some
and
Reese's.
I like
Reese's.
milk. I like milk chocolate. It kind of depends on who makes the milk chocolate, but you give me
Yeah.
anything peanut butter and chocolate, I'm gonna eat it.
It's a winning combo, really.
Oh, it's really a match made in heaven.
It
And dark,
really
I will not eat dark chocolate. It's just icky. Won't
I
do
hear
that.
you.
So
Yeah,
you're strictly a milk guy then. Milk
Milk
chocolate. Not
chocolate,
dark
peanut
chocolate.
butter chocolate. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, okay.
Oh yeah.
That's good to know. Okay, well, I got a
But
question
for
for
ice
you.
cream, I love cookie dough. So
oh,
Okay, well,
there
I,
yeah,
you
you cannot go wrong with cookie dough.
go.
nice.
Now, you like a vanilla cookie dough or a chocolate cookie dough?
Chocolate cookie dough all the way.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Very nice.
Throw some peanut butter cups in there. Now we're really talking.
There you go. That's it.
Okay, I got a question for you. Okay, this is just for fun. What's the rowdiest show you've ever played, and what happened?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
I was gonna say it looks like the show's
Oh,
gonna get pretty rowdy, so I'm like, this is probably gonna be pretty
so
intense.
one that comes to mind in particular, which there's so many. I wish I can. Ah, there's so many, but one that comes to mind, and I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day. Um, New Mexico has got to be one of the wildest places that I've ever played.
Okay.
In any band that I've played in, no matter where you're at in New Mexico, I don't know where these people come from, but they will show up to that show and destroy every fucking thing. We were playing THC about 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. We were playing at a brewery in Farmington. I wish I could remember the name of the brewery. We had never played in Farmington before. Farmington, New Mexico is kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
But it was packed, probably way more packed than the capacity could hold. It was supremely packed, and it was nothing but natives, everybody from that scene. It was just everybody was there. Couple local, and it was one of those shows where they were moshing during the house music. Like, so I knew like
Oh,
this was gonna be something unique, and so we hit the stage. Not even the first, we didn't even get to the first chorus of the first song, and the biggest pit broke out. And like, we don't really get mosh pits at our shows because of our crowd demographic and stuff. So when a mosh pit breaks out, like they're really, really into it. So not even the first chorus of the first song, mosh pit breaks out, PA gets cut, lights come on in the room, everyone spreads out in the room. So somebody was in the mosh pit and broke their leg right in the
Whoa.
middle of the pit.
oh,
And so
yeah.
we had to stop the show. Ambulance came, picked up the person. As soon as the show continued, the pit continued to break out, and it was bananas.
Oh, wow.
And every like we played in Gallup, it was the same thing. Like they were just destroying shit. They were like chanting THC in the line outside. I mean, people in New Mexico are something else. They are wild.
They go off
And so yeah, which I mean, they really love the rock and metal over there because there's not a
yeah.
lot of bands that go through certain markets of New Mexico and stuff. And so when a band comes through, hate them or they're not a big fan, they just really crave live music over there. And yeah, we played Farmington, and it was a mess. But yeah,
Yeah,
that
they get
show
around
that
your Farmington.
yeah, and that show was crazy. And yeah, even after that person got carried out in a stretcher after breaking her leg, the show continued, and they were more rowdy than ever. So yeah, that show was pretty insane.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy smokes. That's incredible.
Holy smokes, indeed. Yeah.
How did you Joey, how did you like get into the drum seat and like fit so well? Like was it nerve-wracking the first time you got together and jammed with the guys or the first time you're on stage with them? Like what kind of transition was that from delivery guy to suddenly rock star?
Well, and I had done a bunch of touring in the past before
Okay.
being in the band, but I wasn't on tours at that level or playing to crowds of that level or that size or just
Right.
even being put into a situation like that. I wasn't really like nervous or really nerve wracked when I was jamming with them because again, I've known these guys for a while and I consider them good friends, and I was comfortable with the style of music. So it wasn't really intimidating until I played my first show with THC, and it was in Houston at this place called Scout Bar, which is an amazing, amazing place. But it was a sold out show. So first ever show I got to play, it was supremely packed. Nobody there knew who I was.
Oh man.
Yeah, it
Under
was
the fire.
that first show was definitely a little nerve wracking for sure. But as far as like jamming with them and kind of getting into the groove with playing the songs with them and getting the chemistry down, it really just felt familiar and it felt comfortable. So I wasn't really intimidated or put off by that. But that first show was a little brutal.
It- Erica, I gotta tell you, this guy was such a natural. Like he was almost like the band leader before they all came out. Like our mutual friend, just like I just said, I don't know. I was standing there, and she said, like, "Would you like to meet them?" And I'm like, "Meet them." Sure. I don't want to,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking, I'm
Oh,
older. I
cool.
don't want to ruin the dynamic of the beginning of a show or anything. They got warm-ups, they got rituals. I'm standing like close to the front with my buddy Ken, and in walks Joey and gives me this huge hug. And he listened to my story about Fred, my buddy Fred, who got me into them, and you took the time, man, and that meant everything to me, and I really appreciate that. And then he gets
Right on, man.
drums, and he's a freaking madman, and the crowd, I think more people knew you than anybody else in the band that night at the Craft House. They were screaming your name. Yeah, yeah,
Right
yeah.
That's great.
on.
Number one badass right there.
Thank you.
Let me just see. Now I got the band lineup here, and there was a question that goes along the lines of this. So we got Big Dad Rich on vocals. That no change there. Guitar, Corbin Vincent and Nevada Romo still. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Hmm.
Okay. And bass, Rado Romo.
Rado, yeah, Rado
Rado,
Romo,
Rado
yeah.
Romo. So,
Hmm.
and you are drums. But I noticed, like, do you guys change it up depending where you go? Are there other members that come on now and then, or is this the set? This is who's on, basically on stage now.
Yeah, this is a set lineup. This is just with us now. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know because I wasn't sure if you had other players and you guys switch it up when you go to different towns or whatever. Because he's coalition. I mean, I don't know if you have do you ever have any other? Do you jam with any other bands when you're in Texas or when you're home?
Yeah, so I got two bands here at home, Locust Grove, which me and the guitar player Zane formed Locust Grove in 2015, and then I have another band, kind of like a thrash band called Deity, and we do a bunch of local shows around here, just DIY places, VFW halls, basements, just wherever it's kind of just like I grew up listening to thrash and stuff, so it's
Yeah,
kind of
man.
like a place for me to kind of step out of the box of what I'm usually in, and it's a lot of fun. And so, yeah, I always try to jam and do local shows and do all that when I'm home. So I always like to keep playing no matter what.
I just got
Yeah.
chills, Erica. He said thrash. We're
Yeah.
huge
Couple
fan.
thrash fans here.
Oh, thrash head through and through,
Oh,
without
Yeah.
a doubt.
dude. Where do we find your other stuff? Because I wouldn't mind checking that out too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram, all the socials.
Okay.
Deity's only got one track out now that's kind of old, but we just finished up two new songs, which will be out probably within the next month or so. And yeah, it's straight up thrash and death metal, and yeah.
Amazing.
Very cool.
Eric
Look
and
into
I
that
are
for sure.
right, Erica. We're gonna be checking. We're
Yeah.
gonna be digging into
And then
that.
Locust is kind of along the lines of THC, but we're a little bit more experimental with our sounds as far as like dynamics and themes and stuff, and just overall music. And we have two records out that's out everywhere, so a bunch of music videos and everything. So
Cool.
That's
And what's the
cool.
name of that band again? I'm sorry.
Locust Grove,
Locust Grove. Okay. Write
yeah.
that down.
Yeah,
Checking it out.
Yeah, she's already gonna be. We're gonna be listening to that later tonight, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Right
No
on.
doubt.
Thanks.
Oh man. So now when you're playing with these guys, do you have what album? So you came in on 2024, then before that, what album did you come in on? Um,
For THC, I joined in 2021. 2022, we tracked and recorded The Name Lives On, which came out April of 23. And then we recorded Gunsmoke. I
yeah.
want to say had it been January or February of 24, we pretty much did Gunsmoke almost right after Name Lives On. And so those are the two records I've done with THC. And then just like Johnny Cash, it just came out a month
Yeah.
or so ago, 2 months ago. So this will be my third record with me.
Okay. That gives me a little more perspective then. Yeah, Guns
Yeah.
great album. I mean, and just like Johnny Cash, just like Johnny Cash, the way I looked at that, like that's a single that's out now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that's not only like a salute, but it seems like it's a way of life that you guys believe in, or so whoever wrote that did.
For
Johnny.
sure. Yeah, Rado came up with the concept for just like Johnny Cash, and he got the inspiration from one of Rich's stories that says that when he was younger, he told his grandma that he wanted to grow up and be just like Johnny Cash, and she was like, "Well, you can't grow up to be like him. You have to grow up to be like yourself." And then he started wearing all black all the time, just like Johnny Cash, and so that's been a story that he's told for years since at least I've been in the band. He's told that pretty much every show, if not every other show. And so when it came time to write new music, Rado, who also is a singer for Anti-Mortem, he's been a singer lyricist for a very, very long time, and he's really
Oh,
talented with it. And so he approached Rich with the theme and the idea, the lyrical cadence and stuff like that, saying, "Hey, let's write a song about some of the stories that you've told on stage that people are really familiar with." And so when they came together for the concept of that song, that's kind of how that came about.
sweet, man.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about, Big Dad Rich talking, and some of the stories he was telling, but Erica's got something for you first.
Yeah.
So, you've been on tour, I'm assuming, what, nationally, internationally?
Hmm.
What's your favorite city to play?
Oh my gosh. Favorite city, that's really tough. There's a few that I can name, and it's a lot of it's because either it's a place that I've lived and seen many shows at, or just like the demographic, or just like the area, or just kind of the place. But one of my favorite places to play is probably like Oregon, Portland, because
Uh-huh.
I saw a lot of shows in Portland when I was younger, when I lived there for a bit, and then
Cool.
Colorado is obviously another favorite. I'm from Denver, so every time we go to Colorado, a lot of family comes out, and I just love the area, and it's always home to me no matter what.
Yeah.
But I really love playing the East Coast. Upstate New York is probably one of my favorite spots to play. The
Is
crowd
that
is really
right?
great up there. And Canada rules. Everywhere we go in Canada is just always off the chain. So I love going to
Mhm.
Canada and playing. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to really think about that. That's really hard. There's a lot of favorites of
That's good.
mine.
Yeah.
Whether it's been THC or bands in the past, like there's too many that I can name. But those are what I can think of right now.
Oh, that's great. Those are great answers. I love
Totally.
Canada. I lived in Canada for about a year, about 20 years ago.
Cool.
And I absolutely loved it there.
I love it.
Yeah, good food, good people, good exchange rate. They had a good exchange rate.
That's right.
Yeah, you can get Budweiser really cheap. Or well,
You
actually, that's an
get, you
import
get
there.
Labatt, what it was like a higher alcohol percentage. I think it was like a 6% instead of 5. So
Right, right.
yeah, didn't know
Oh,
that at first. Found that one out the hard way.
and man, they love their rock and roll in
They
Canada.
sure
That's the
did.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I get
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
I
love
get so
Canada.
much good music from there. It's amazing right now. That it's a
Mhm.
hotbed. It really is.
Mhm.
It's strange. Some cities that we go to that you would think would get more live music or just more consistent shows, kind
Mhm.
of like what I was saying about New Mexico earlier. Like it's very surprising how like concert starved some of these cities are, and then when you come there, everyone just like comes out of the woodwork, and it's like a
Yeah.
big collective. It's quite
Yeah.
interesting.
social event of the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Off the first record, Pride of Texas. I'm just curious, more than curious. And when you're dealing with a different audience here, there are some folks tonight that will never have heard of you, and you'll be their new favorite band, and other people, just they don't know the stories. But when it comes to like a song like No Shame and Pissed Off and Mad About It, when I heard it, the death of Dimebag was still very fresh. And those songs hit so freaking hard for me. Was that the impression? Was that the idea behind those songs? Were they founded on the Dimebag, the way he went, or was there other just multiple things that they were about? It was.
As far as that first record came out in 2008. Um, I think, I mean, Rich and that band back then, they all kind of came from the same area, and Rich has had many run-ins with the guys from Pantera, Dimebag, Vinny, all those
Of course.
guys. And so I don't know if there was a direct influence correlating between his death and that record,
Mhm.
um, or if there was any kind of inspiration behind it.
Right.
Um, I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, the good thing about music in general is people, and kind of like your take on it. A lot of people interpret their own imaginations into certain songs,
Yes.
and that's what kind of makes it really special and makes it really connect with people. But I would have to ask him about that. I'm not 100% sure as far as like the connection between that.
It hit
But I
me.
know Rich was very close to all those guys back in the day. So
I was going to ask that question. And I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that because I
Mhm.
mean, yeah,
yeah,
Texas has a sound, and I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of band you got. That power groove they say Pantera, created. I think it was there just waiting to man, they nailed it down. But you guys all kind of have it, and I think Erica living there after living in other places, I think you've grown accustomed to that power groove, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
No matter what band it is. But yeah, you guys got it. I want to play another tune for folks. We opened up the show with No Shame. But going to the Peacemaker record, 2012. Damn You to Hell.
one of my favorites.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a live tune too, man. I just kind of guessed. I'm glad to hear that that's a favorite.
it's a favorite of mine, and we don't ever play it, but we've talked about putting it back into the set list. So I hope that
Oh
happens.
God, I'd love to hear that one
Gotta go
live.
back in there.
That's one I would love to actually hear live. So that means when you come back, they always come here, Erica. From what I
Mhm.
understand, you guys do the Craft House in Pittsburgh once a year.
About once a year, yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes
That's
twice,
cool.
depending. But yeah, about once a year.
How about Austin? Do y'all play in Austin?
Oh gosh, we haven't played Austin a year, 2 years, but we always
Okay.
come and take it live. Is usually a
I
place that
was
we go
gonna say
to.
it sounds like it'd be like
Yeah,
come and take it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. The man,
That's a cool place. I like that place.
All right, man.
and
We're
a
gonna
dirty dog. It was one of my favorite spots.
Oh,
we'll
Dirty
keep
Dog?
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Went to one of my first shows in Austin, Dirty Dog.
heck,
It was
heck yeah.
down. Down played at Dirty Dog.
Oh, how cool!
That was a
Perfect.
rowdy ass show.
I didn't know that. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was one of my first ones.
Joey, Erica's a player too, man. Bass, and she has been in several bands. One of which is Yard Panther, our house band here. You hear on every
Sweet.
outro, folks, in case you didn't know. But yeah, she was our house band in Foxy Death Box back in the day. That was our band we have in the basement here for parties and such. And what can I say? You guys, I miss you girls so much.
Oh, miss you too. Those were the days.
So we gotta get you and Joey in here and jam sometime.
Hell
Would
yeah.
love it.
Let's do it,
I'm
bro.
gonna take a quick break here, folks, and we're gonna get to a song, and then we will get right back with Joey from Texas Hippie Coalition. And thank you so much for doing this, brother. I really appreciate this.
Heck yeah.
All right. Okay, Fiends, we are back. And dude, Joey, again, we always say this, but the best conversations happen off the air. And you guys were talking Portland, so you may want to fill folks in on what I missed here.
Yeah. So I lived in a town called Vancouver, Washington State, and it's 5-10 minutes away from the Oregon state line. And me and my brother and my cousin, who I lived with up there at the time, we would always take the train or the bus to go see shows in Portland, like at least a few times a month. If not, it was like a couple of times a week. There were so many bands that would always go there in that area, and saw so many shows there. And THC played up there, Boston Nova Ballroom, a couple years ago, and saw tons of shows there. And so it was cool to play there instead of just see a show, and it brought back a lot of good memories.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we just heard Damn You to Hell off of 2012 Peacemaker. Um, I gotta say, the title track kicks ass. Dead Man just kind of sets the stage for like the whole album where that starts. That's amazing. Um, from a drummer's perspective, like what are your favorite songs to play? We just learned by default that Damn You to Hell is one of them. What else do you dig?
Yes.
What is like
Um,
your favorite to dig into?
so it's hard because um I don't play the songs beat by beat live. I try to keep it as close to the original as I can, but I always love like adding my own little flares and with playing live, it's always going to be spontaneous, and I think that's the beauty of playing live or going to see a live band is that you never know what you're going to get.
Truth.
And
Mhm.
so there's a lot of the songs in the THC catalog that I play live that, I mean, I keep it about like 80 to 85% the original, but then the other 10 to 15, I add whatever comes off the top of my noggin at the time. But
Mhm.
the song that I love playing live, believe it or not, and it might be like a cliche answer, but Pissed Off and Mad About is a great song to play because there's a lot of stuff that I add in there that kind of makes it a little bit more not thrashy necessarily, but makes it a little bit more complicated and like adds a little bit of technique in there or technical patterns.
I
Um,
definitely
with
noticed that, dude. I noticed a lot.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, and it's funny because there's a lot of people, whether they're drummers or just like hardcore fans of the music, that will point it out and like, I don't think that was on the album, but that was really cool. I was like, that was a cool little thing you just did there. And even like a lot of the bands that we tour with, that are like really familiar with the catalog, they'll be like, hey, like I noticed Moonshine had a little bit of death metal in there. What was going on? you know, but I don't know, I
It's
just like
fun.
I just like having fun with the songs live as far as like playing it. But I like Pissed Off a lot of it too because of the crowd reactions too. It's really nice. And another one, it was a bonus track off of Peacemaker that never made it to the record, but it somehow got floated out onto the internet. But Whiskey is really, really fun to play live. Just because it's really slow, groovy, and heavy. The bridge is kind of fast and technical a little bit. So Whiskey, you get like a little bit of both in that song. And so, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of songs in the set list that I love playing live. And I know when I first joined
That's
the
great.
band, playing Damn You to Hell was a lot of fun because before I joined, they never really played that song live because there was a lot of players besides the person who tracked it that just couldn't really nail that drum part or just being able to keep it steady throughout that song. And so when we added it to the set in the beginning, that song was a lot of fun to play live because I feel like with that song, it kind of breaks up the monotony of how the rest of the sets are or how the rest of the songs go. And so when you change it up a little bit by adding a little bit of technicality into it, it makes the set really special. So
I agree. I
Mhm.
agree completely. And
Yeah,
boy, that was
totally.
yeah, you proved that point live. I guess as long as you don't throw too many blast beats in your fills, you don't have, Big Dad looking behind like what's going on back there right now.
Oh man, that it's funny you say blast because in Rolling off of the album Rolling, there's a little blast beatage that goes on there in the chorus that I just kind of added not too long ago, and no one's noticed it yet. But there's been a couple of eyeballs from the members of the support bands that are like, I see what you did there. That's cool. All right, so I'll keep it in there until someone notices. But so far, we're good.
That's freaking awesome. I love it. Erica, my dear.
Okay, so we talked about your favorite songs to play live. How was it? Were there any songs where you're like, I could take that or leave it?
Yeah, look, I love like I have a soft spot for ballads and for ballads just in general.
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing to have it in the set list, I guess, depending on kind of like where you're at. But rock shows are supposed to be high energy the whole way through and through.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes the ballads, while they're fun to play and you kind, everyone kind of takes a breather a little bit. So a lot of the
Yeah.
times I'm like, we can just take the ballads out.
It's like keep that
uh,
energy up. Let's not let it
but
just, let's
but
not
but
let it drop. Just keep it up.
right, and as a fan and as a listener, I love listening to ballads regardless. So I'll always keep them and always listen to them. But and we'll play them sometimes, depending on like the mood of the show. But a lot of the times I'm like, we don't do that. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Next.
Your ballads don't even come across as ballads, really. I mean, they're just, another tune you guys are playing. But I know what you're saying because Erica will remember she came in at the tail end of this, but in the 80s, like every metal band had to have two ballads on their damn album so they could sell out to the
Mhm.
radio, and that got so mundane. And Erica, you know what I'm talking about,
Mhm.
right? I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
but you guys, I'm not saying you
Must be
guys did
another
that.
cheese there, a little bit.
We were beat down. We got beat down with that stuff. So at a live show, I know exactly what you're talking about, Joey.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta ask about Bones Jones. I love I love that song. I mean, if you don't like that song or don't feel the adrenaline rush while listening or playing it, I mean, you don't like rock and roll.
So that's another song that I love playing too because it's a little technical and a little different. But we haven't played that song probably since the record came out. I think we probably played it less than 10 times. Like it saw its way into the set and then it just got taken out. But yeah, that was a good song to play live too because not only was it technical in certain parts and it sounded a little bit different than what THC is normally known for, but that's one of the exciting things about playing technical songs like that live is I can add even more shit to it, and it's drum wise it's ridiculous, and I just like having fun with it a lot. And a lot there's a lot of fans that really really seem to like that song, which I think that was like the second single off Gunsmoke, and it got a lot more love than I feel like a lot of the songs on the album did. And yeah, it saw its way into the set list and then it just left. So hopefully with that song and Damn You to Hell and a few others, we'll hopefully add that back into the set next year. That'd be awesome.
Awesome, man.
Mhm. That's great. All right, just gonna shift gears here a little bit. What's a show you'll never forget, for better or for worse?
Ooh,
What's a
ooh.
show I'll never forget?
Mm-mm-mm.
Man, one show that I'll never forget is, man, I was maybe in the band 4 months, maybe less than that. We got to be one of the main stage acts at Blue Ridge Rock Fest in Virginia, which was notoriously and infamously one of the most chaotic years of that festival. It was really really bad for a lot of fans, but
Uh,
we got to be on the main stage for that year, and we played right before Testament, which was
Oh my
one of my
God.
favorites growing
yeah.
up. And
Yeah.
bro,
Love them. Love
so
them.
I was a fan before I was ever a musician, and I'll always be a fan through and through. And I was coming off stage. I was just beginning to like pack up gear. We're kind of set it to the side, and I saw Gene Hoglan come out of one of the dressing rooms walking towards the stage. And I mean, Death Clock, Dark Angel,
Yeah.
anything that dude has ever touched, I worship. And got to snag a quick photo with him, and he was super cool. And I didn't know what to say to him. I was,
Right.
was trying to talk to him, and then like got to talk with Chuck Billy for a
Duck
little while, and he
Billy.
was a super nice dude.
Yes.
Um, and so as a guy who went to a bunch of concerts growing up, I always loved like getting into the pit or just watching from the crowd, watching the show. So I was side stage for like 3 songs while Testament was playing, maybe
Oh,
3 or 4
cool.
songs. And I looked out into the crowd, and I mean, humongous circle pits. I mean, they were everywhere when they were playing. And so I was watching them play, and I was watching the crowd, and I was like, I was stir crazy. I couldn't help myself, and I was like, I have to get in there. This just I have to do. So I took my cut off, put it near where my drums were, and I hopped the gate into the crowd, and I got into the pit with a bunch of people. And a bunch of people in the middle of the pit kept stopping me. They were like, "Wait a minute, weren't you just up there? Like, what the fuck?" And um, we were singing "Practice What You Preach" in the pit. It was so sick. So that's a show that I'll never forget, just because like not only did we get to play, but I also got to experience it as a fan with one of my favorite bands growing up, and so that was a bucket list show for sure. A show that I'll never forget. For you said for better or for worse. For worse, we did a show back in May in it was somewhere in Wisconsin. It was so bad I couldn't even tell you the name. The crowd was super great. It was a really great crowd, and the guys who put us up on that show, they were super nice, very hospitable. It was just the location and the weather was awful. It was like 30 degrees. It rained all day. It was we were in the middle of nowhere, so none of us had cell phone service or any network service at all. It was just a miserable show to just be at, more so because of the weather. If it was beautiful weather outside, it probably would have been more enjoyable. But like I had to wear a hoodie on stage. All of our gear was wet. There was mud. There was mud, and none of our gear got damaged, thankfully. But there was just like mud everywhere. I don't think anybody wanted to be there just because of the atmosphere. But the people who put on the show and the fans that showed up, it was really cool. And I'm not like saying anything negative about that, but it was just like the environment. It was just not good. I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Cold rainy, that really stinks.
Oh, it was miserable the entire day. You couldn't escape the cold no matter where you went. It was.
It's like you can't wait to get to the hotel and take a hot shower.
Oh God, it was bad. Yes, it was real bad. It was bad.
Oh man, that sounds bad.
So you're talking about you have a background in thrash. Obviously, Testament. Do they influence you with your band, your thrash metal band?
Dude, I mean, like, okay, so I love Testament, and obviously I listened to a lot of them growing up. I wouldn't say they were a direct influence. I mean, they do play some. To me personally, and even now, Exodus is one of my favorite thrash bands of all time.
Dude, I saw them very early on, man.
Dude,
time, but
any record that they've put out, I've never been like, oh, this is a sleeper, this sucks. Always been a big Exodus fan growing up, but I mean, any bands from the Big Four and even like the off the cuff bands like Death Angel and Exodus, Testament, Overkill, Exporter. I mean, like you name it, dude.
You said Overkill. This was within reach. See this hat? This hat is 1980.
I love Overkill.
1980s, dude. This is when Anthrax was doing their Indians hat. Like with the turn.
Oh yeah, with the thing pushed up. Yeah.
Well, you actually bought it. They sold this hat with the brim going up, so you could.
Oh my gosh, how cool!
Awesome.
Isn't that crazy? I think I might.
My good buddy, one of my good buddies, Jeremy Kling, plays drums for Overkill now, and I always bug him about questions and stuff like that. And I was actually going to go see him play with Overkill when they were on the road with King Diamond, but we were on tour at the time, so I couldn't make it. But yeah, when the Electric Age came out, I was like, yeah, this is what's up. This is game over. And White Devil Armory is probably one of my favorite Overkill records ever, and probably my top 10 thrash albums too. So for sure.
D.D. Verney, man, he reinvented the bass.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
I mean, if you get past Skull Crusher, you might be halfway through their catalog. Maybe they never stopped. They were a regular band. Erika, you don't even know this, man. I saw them from the age of 14 on up in New York. I get into clubs really young. At 16, I was getting in and drinking underage. But Overkill, it was always like Overkill, Testament opening up or something. And Testament was open back then. Yeah,
cool.
You said Overkill. You got me all lit up. Amazing.
Yeah, like in Horoscope, Taking Over Years of Decay, like man, it just those records hold a special place in my heart, man.
So much
Necro Shine. I mean, yeah, we can go on for days about
it. They never stop. But yeah,
definitely Exodus is probably my most favorite thrash band of all time for sure.
Lunatic Parade.
Yes.
You gotta love that. I mean, you gotta love that. I saw that one. This will take you to will take me back to the or was it the Headbangers Ball tour? Exodus, Halloween, Anthrax. And
Oh wow.
Nice.
yeah, that was a crazy one in New York. I don't know if it went everywhere. It was an MTV tour when MTV
Yeah, yeah.
was cool. Anyway, uh,
That's cool.
MTV is going away soon, folks. So we got to say goodbye. From what as far as I know,
Yeah,
they're gone. Headbangers Ball went off the air. I went off the air.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
All right, you kind of answered this one, Joey. This is very interesting. How you said you well, you play with your drums a little bit and take liberties. Who does the actual arrangements of your songs? Is that all of you guys? Does somebody write it down?
Pretty much all of us have a collective and collaborative effort in all of our music. But like Nevada and Rado here recently have been really uh, really on the forefront of songwriting when it comes to this single and even a lot on our last record. And then Cord, who was our old guitar player, he wrote a lot of good songs too, and he was a really big songwriter in our band as well. And and then like as far as like drum parts, a lot of it will just kind of get presented to me like the skeleton, then I'll put like my own flair to it or add some things, take away some things. I always try to like keep an open mind when I'm writing drum parts or like when I'm tracking in the studio, just because I like multiple inputs and I like hearing different ideas or trying different things. And so I feel like when it comes to like drum parts specifically, I do write all of my drum parts, but in most cases, I do have to give credit where credit is due and say that a lot of the parts are a collaborative effort, as it should be.
That explains
Yeah,
how tight, why you guys are so tight.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a Pantera formula right there.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why the name lives on has an influence that it does and why it still holds the way that it holds today is because almost every song on that album we all of us collaborated with, and we all kind of worked with each other in each of those songs. Gunsmoke, there was a few that was kind of written without some people there or were kind of just written off the cuff or just got presented to the table last minute. But regardless, we still all had an input when it came to that record too. So
That's cool. Everybody gets
All right.
their part there.
Well,
Yeah, that's
Eric, if
good.
you want to give him something before we pick the next song, or you want him to pick the next song first?
Let's pick the next song, and then we'll
I'm
move
curious
along.
to see. I love to
Yeah,
see what our guests pick from their own catalog. It's always interesting.
yeah.
Joey,
So,
it's
well,
your turn,
yeah,
man.
well, yeah. So, when you're just talking about the name lives on, one of the heavy hitters on that record, and one that I know if we play live, like it will definitely leave a mark, so to speak. But keep my name out of your mouth is definitely one that I would pick for the next song off
Ooh,
that record.
okay. Wow. Before we get into that, or should we wait till after? Can you tell us where that one comes from?
It's so funny. I don't think there's any direct connection to it, but I think how the timing happened, it was just kind of funny. So when we were tracking The Name Lives On, we were in Los Angeles for like a month, tracking the record. While we were there tracking was right when that infamous moment at the Grammys, or no, it was the Oscars, when Chris Rock got slapped by Phil Smith.
Ah,
And
okay, yeah.
we were all chilling in the Airbnb and we watched it happen live, and so like we all kind of thought it was a joke and we were all kind of laughing about it. And when Will Smith said, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth," like
Oh,
I
That's
don't know if
good.
there's any connection there, but I think the timing, I think it had something a little bit to do with it because I keep my name. What a great name for a song. So,
It really is.
there it is. The song is born. All right,
yeah.
well, let's do it, man. We'll do that one and we'll get right back here with Joey. Erica, you hold on
Yeah.
and you'll come in with that next that I know you got a good one coming up. So thanks for sticking
Okay.
with us, folks. We'll get right back here. All right. Up right here. All right. Speaking of chaos, Erica was just talking off air about how she likes to lead off with chaos. Or all
That's
her
it.
questions circle around chaos. Before we do that,
all my
before we
questions tonight seem to revolve around some sort of chaos or something. But
I gotta share something right here. See this picture? We all know this
yeah,
guy, and that's
Oh,
actually
oh, that's
killer.
that's
cool.
one of his guitar picks right there in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
My cousin took.
Wow.
See how young Dimebag is here. My cousin
Yeah,
Sean Clark
baby.
took this picture. He used to work for these big, the big magazine companies, and he took all those photo shoots. And seems like
Oh, so
Dimebag
cool.
should have a moment in this particular interview with
Oh.
Joey Mandigo. Did I say it right?
Yeah, there you go.
Woo-hoo.
Okay, off air, guys. Now I'm gonna defend myself here. Off air, Joey said something to the fact that even his own band members still mispronounce his last name.
Sometimes they do. Yeah, yeah. They're like Mandigo. Ah, crap. No, I didn't say it. Yeah, happens all the time.
Manigo, Big Beavis, Manigo,
Yeah,
Manigo.
happens all. Yeah, it happens all the time.
Erica, it's all yours, man. Mike's hot.
Um, well, my question is, what's the most unhinged fan interaction that made you go, WTF?
He's having it right now.
Oh my god.
I got a feeling this is gonna be a good one.
Was it at an overkill show? Oh, no.
Oh, the most. Oh my gosh, the most unhinged fan
Was it in New
interaction.
Mexico?
Uh-oh. We got him this time. Oh,
All
boy.
right, so oh my gosh, I haven't talked about this in so long.
Oh,
We
we're
were
hungry.
so in 2015, I was playing with a band called Lord Dying. They were like a sludge metal band out of Portland, funny enough. So I did a
Mhm.
couple tours with them. One tour we did, it was with Misery Index, and most of that tour was in Canada. We had like 5 or 6 Canadian shows. My first ever show um, in Montreal, I think it was Bofuna's Electricus or something. Somebody might correct me on that. But my first ever show in Canada ever. Never been into Canada before. I was super green to it, so I knew none of the culture, didn't know anything. I kind of came in there really fresh when I was younger.
Mhm.
So we went to uh, kind of in the alley of the venue where kind of gear loadout was. And Montreal was beautiful besides this one part. It was a shithole. I don't know how it is now, but back then it was not so pretty. Right after we got done playing, I went to go load my stuff out. And in Montreal, none of the guys or none of the people up there speak English. It's all French. So I didn't know what they were saying. But this guy approached me in an alley. He had bought one of the Lord Dying t-shirts and he was like talking to me, but he was talking in French. So I couldn't understand a word he was saying. But I assumed it was into the amount of, hey, you did a good show, like you guys are badass, whatever the whole, spiel. So I just kept saying, thank you, appreciate it, thank you. I don't even know if he knew what I was saying. Because to him it just sounds like gibberish. So this
Yeah.
guy, he had a backpack on or just like a little satchel bag, and he's approaching me in this alleyway, and like he's talking to me a bunch of stuff in French. I can't understand a word he's telling me. Well,
Did you
then
buy drugs? Did you buy drugs by mistake?
no, no. So
Mistake?
so he reaches into his bag and he pulls out a pair of socks. It was a pair of black socks that was in his bag, and he kept trying to give it to me. He was like, hey, I'm assuming he was telling me to take it. So I took these pairs of socks from him.
No.
I didn't really know what to do with it. It was a weird gesture, and so I put it in my side pocket of my backpack, which was on the trailer. I was like, I'll throw it away or get to it later, or it might be a funny story I might tell the guys. So I go back in, we watch Misery Index play, the show ends, and I come back out, and this guy, and I'm assuming it was a friend of his or somebody he worked with. I don't think it was a family member, but it was someone that he knew. Spoke broken English. It was still borderline French, but he spoke broken English. He was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna need those socks back."
Well,
And he came up to me, and I'm like, uh, uh, socks. I kept trying to play it off like I didn't know what he was talking about because he was like super intimidating. And he was like, yeah, man, I know you have the socks. I'm going to need them back. And that guy was next to him. So I I only looked at him in his face, so I didn't give him like the stare down up and down, but he came to me with no shoes on and no socks. And this guy had shoes and socks on. So I'm assuming the guy that gave me the socks took it from this dude and gave them to me. Um, and that guy knew this dude somehow gave me the socks or whatever. So this guy, he was a big dude. And so I didn't want to mess with him. So I went to my backpack. I grabbed out these pair of socks and I gave it back to him. And he kind of bucked at me. And he was like, don't be taking people's socks like that. And then he just
Oh,
kind of
dang.
walked away. And I never saw that guy or that dude ever again. It was the weirdest
Whoa.
interaction I've ever had with a fan. It was just so strange. There's a lot of weird fan interactions along the way, but that's one that kind of stuck out to me that I haven't thought about in forever yet, but that was very strange.
The
Yeah.
Montreal sock situation there.
Yeah, it was very, very strange.
I wouldn't know what to think, man. I don't know what to think right now. I'm gonna be thinking about that when I go to bed tonight.
Yeah, it was very, and it's not like they were dirty pairs of socks, and they were rolled up, so they were folded, and you just handed them to me. I was like, whatever, like keepsake, whatever is a gift, but like I don't even think I had the intention of like keeping them forever. And then like when that guy approached me after the show, I was like, well, I didn't want these anyway. Here you go. Like I don't even know why they were given to me. But like I didn't want to be a dick and say, hey, I don't want these or get those away from me. It was my first time ever in Canada and he spoke French, so I don't know why he was giving me. So yeah, that was very strange.
That is very
Well,
strange.
I want to say, Joey,
Mystery socks.
you have convinced me to pay somebody to go up to Erika at her next gig and hand her some socks.
They're like, oh no, I'm having deja vu here. What's going on?
Yeah. Just make sure they speak English. You know why they're giving them to you, because some days I still think about why I was even handed those anyway, and why a guy barefoot approached me. So very weird.
Yeah.
That's
very weird. The whole thing's very weird.
Different.
Yeah.
We get a lot
answer.
of stories.
Really good answer.
Get a lot of stories here, but man, that was on top of some of the weirdest without an answer. There's really no conclusion to that one.
Yeah, it was very strange, man.
So when did you first pick up the drumsticks? Like, were you since you were a little kid, or was this later?
Probably around 5 or 6.
Oh, wow.
My earliest recollection was probably 5. I didn't so like I probably picked them up around like 5 or 6. I didn't really take it seriously until maybe I was around like 9 or 10. Because like I picked up the sticks, I was like, man, this is really cool. Love playing the drums, but I still wanted to go be a kid. So I went and was a kid for several years. And then when we first moved to Oklahoma, my dad got me a drum set off of eBay, set it up in the living room. And then that's kind of when I was like, oh yeah, I remember these, and then it's like started coming back to it. So I think that was around like 8 or 9, maybe 9 or 10. I know I was in elementary school still. But that was probably when I took it very seriously, was around that time.
That's cool.
Okay.
As far as like consistently playing and like, willing to learn songs and, like mess with tunings and like learning how to put them together and, take them down, put them together, probably around like 8 or 9, probably.
What was your favorite song to play when you were a kid?
The first song I learned how to play, to my earliest memory, was the Pretender by the Foo Fighters, because it was super simple. And like that record had just come out. And, we were talking about MTV earlier. That was when MTV was still playing music videos. And so they had the Pretender video on rotation for like months. And so at least 2 to 3 times a day, that video would come on. And like, I remember I just kept hearing that song so many times and kind of putting the pieces together in my head about like how it went. And so I just put headphones on and I played it all the way through. So I think that was probably the first song I learned how to play on the drums. But the song to where I feel like I actually had to study it and really learn how to play it had to been a Slipknot song of some kind years down the road. Probably when I was like 12 or 13, when I started like practicing and playing a lot more, when I started to get like at least somewhat good. And when I try to convince myself I could probably play something that's not, Megadeth or, any of those bands, or so that was, Foo Fighters and Pretender was probably the first time I learned how to play all the way through. Probably when I was like 8, maybe 7 or 8.
That's great.
You're picking some major contenders there, man. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
I
Well,
got.
it was funny because it went from like learning how to play because I think it was like the Pretender and Linkin Park had just come out with New Divide off that A Thousand Suns record, and so like I was like kind of those were the songs that was playing on MTV in heavy rotation. So every time I'd come home from school, I'd always see those music videos on TV. So I was like, well, I got the drum kit right here. It's just the easiest to play. But I went from like playing those simple kind of like less drum oriented songs, and I jumped straight into like Megadeth, Slipknot, Slayer, Metallica, and all this other stuff. And funny enough, I was also playing a lot of like metalcore songs back then too, because that was kind of a lot what was playing around in the house, and so I used to play a lot of those songs too, just because it was just fun to play and it was interesting and had a lot of intricate double kick parts and that I could like learn how to do and learn how to master and stuff. And so yeah, it progressively got harder the older that I got.
Yeah. Challenge yourself a little bit
Yes,
more
absolutely.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
Erica knows a little bit about challenging oneself. That's for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Not only is she a player, she also has a show called Fashion Trash on Baku Askew TV. Where how do you want to explain it, Eric? It's a Pee Wee's Playhouse for adults still.
Yeah.
And go ahead, explain it to him because he would like this, and I see him doing a future voice on the show.
Hey, that's definitely possible for sure. But yeah, I just have a puppet channel that I do on YouTube. It's like comedy and art focused. I have a lot of special guests from like the music world. Like, one of my all-time favorite artists is L7. So I've been lucky enough to have like Susie Gardner,
Yeah.
their guitarist on the
Oh,
show,
cool.
and a whole like litany of awesome artists and just good people that I've had on the show before. But yeah, it just keeps, I'm not really playing music so much right now, but I have to keep that creative stuff going. So this is what I've kind of found myself on post pandemic. But yeah, I really love doing it. And we're about to head into what, the 11th season, I think, here
Oh
in
my
January.
God.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
I started in 2016. So yeah, just keep it going. Um, but yeah, having a good time with that. Actually, what I'm having a screening this weekend and next weekend here in Austin. And then there'll be the big Christmas special, which will come out on December 17th. So I'm excited about
How
that.
sweet. Very
Yeah.
cool. I'll have to check it out sometime.
Thank you. Yeah, check it out for sure.
Back to the Craft House in Pittsburgh when you guys were there that night. This is something I've noticed, and I keep talking about it on the show because it's new for me, and it's a bad thing at concerts, unfortunately. Not just people talking during a show, but when Big Daddy Rich was like telling his stories that we wanted to hear. I wanted to hear his stories. I love his voice, first of all, is hypnotic, but when he's telling a story, it doesn't matter if he's taking out the garbage. It's interesting. And he 3 times he told 3 stories, and there was a woman next to me who wanted to just start screaming, "Shut up and play!" I had to tell her to shut up and go to the bar because, dude, we want to hear what he's saying. Do you guys run into that? Like these
All the
weird
time.
what is
All the
going
time.
on with that? People
Yeah.
talking and yelling. Like, you used to be too loud to do that anyway, and now people are
Mhm.
going out of their way to do it. You do run into that.
Yes. And,
Ooh.
a lot of our stage show and a lot of our shows is heavily based on the storytelling, which always goes into the next song. Um, I think a lot of it has to do with people's attention span.
Right.
And a lot of people don't have the patience to like sit through each story and listen to the song, sit through each story, listen to a song. But
Yes.
I think a lot of people don't like hearing it because of their attention span, because either they can't pay attention or they just get lost in the song or they just get distracted or but yeah, we run into that all the time. And sometimes the stories are a little bit shorter. Sometimes they're really, really long. Other times we won't tell stories at all. We'll just like go into the song. So a lot of some certain songs have stories. Some are just kind of on the fly. Let's just go do it. But yeah, it's been a staple of the live set since the band was formed. And so I think people at first are shut up and play a song. But I think the more that people show up to the shows and get more familiar with how they go, they'll get used to it. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't belong there, man. She was like ready to go to a pickleball tournament. I just
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't
Some people
handle
have
it.
that what do you call it, that main character syndrome too, where it's like
Oh,
gotta be the center of
yes.
attention all the time. It's just like, okay. We're here to see the show, not to hear you gabbing it up, lady. Come on.
Yes, or while he's telling the story, people will start just screaming out names of songs.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of the
Forever.
it's funny. A lot of times it's songs that we've already played, and they're still screaming
Mhm.
for it. It's just like great,
Yeah.
But it also it's funny because like if someone keeps yelling or keeps talking while he's telling stories, Rich will acknowledge it, and then he'll go on to another tangent about something that they're talking about. So the story just gets even longer. So it's like great.
I,
See what you
I,
did? See what you did there?
It's like now you get this, like now you got him going. It's like okay,
I
thanks.
believe it. I believe he did it that night. I know he did. I know he did. And I kudos to him, man. I appreciated every freaking moment of that. And I just hear, you guys were just phenomenal. It was a great night. I had many highlights. Usually people walk away from a concert with three things they remember. That was one just big song all night long. Every song was
Right
great,
on.
handpicked. I was fine with everything. I just don't like people interrupting. And you nailed it. The attention span.
Mhm.
That is the
Yeah,
problem.
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
You think with a metal crowd, Jesus, there's no time to. But yeah, that brings me to something else. And I know Eric's got something for you too. But I just along these lines, um, I'm finding out that a lot of your early stuff was heavy metal, thrash. Like I could totally see you surfacing from Slipknot, probably hearing the pounding drums. You're like, I got to play drums. But like, was there other sounds in your household that like made you turn towards the hard rock and the metal as opposed to say at the time rap, hip hop, disco, and country?
So um I'm very blessed and fortunate to come from a very musical background.
Oh,
Almost everyone in my family are music lovers, but oddly enough, I'm the only one that plays an instrument. Everyone else just kind of listens to it, and I actually play it. But my grandfather on my dad's side, he played guitar when he was growing up, which I have both of his guitars at my grandmother's house. We still have them, but grew up with a lot of music in the house. My mom was more like Zeppelin and um stuffs of that genre, and then my dad was Sabbath, Maiden, Priest, so you kind of had a little bit that were kind of both blended together. But I grew up listening to 70s, 80s, 90s hard rock, everything from like hair metal to black metal to death metal. I was introduced to a lot of that stuff when I was younger. And watching a lot of music videos, a lot of concert videos, that was always just playing in the house or always listening to music on the record player or on the sound system in the old house. And so there was a lot of music from both sides of the family that I was introduced to when I was younger, and especially with me being the youngest, um, I was susceptible to hearing all of that stuff from both ends to it. And I hate to bring up MTV again because it's a joke nowadays, but back
yeah.
then there VH1, I know it's still a channel, but back then they had this thing called VH1 Classic,
Yeah,
which
sure.
Yeah,
oh man, so almost every night, um, they used to have it would only play for like an hour, maybe 2 hours if that, but they had this segment on there called Metal Mania, and they would play all of the music videos from like the hair and glam and metal bands from the 70s through the 90s. And I would religiously watch that show almost every day and every night and just like studying them and like watching and listening and hearing all the music. um, and so not just like Jordison and Slipknot and all that growing up, but there were so many others from different eras and different genres that I feel like had a lot of influence on my playing because even back then I was very open minded to, having the mindset that music is music, whether it's whatever genre it is, it's all, you got to appreciate it one way or another. And so I kind of uh, grew up in that mindset. And so I was never shy to listening to whatever I can listen to, especially when I first started playing.
yeah.
Nice.
Well, it sounds
Wow.
like your parents had really great musical taste for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Well, that has a big effect on you too growing up. You know, you say you started playing drums, what, five or six?
Yeah, and then again, I didn't really take it seriously until about 8 or 9 probably. But yeah, about 5 or 6 was
That's
when it was
cool.
really formative. Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, it was. I think a lot of again what I was hearing at that time really kind of helped mold my playing to what it is now, and so I have to give credit where credit is due on that. So
Yeah, yeah. That's
Uh,
very cool.
I know. I This is something that I was told about before I saw you guys at the craft house. My a friend of mine, Vicky, who sees you guys every year. She's a Pittsburgher. Vicky and her entire family go there, and she told me about you guys having a prayer vigil before the show, and which is, I mean, very uplifting thing. You guys like did.
yes,
I don't
yeah,
know if I missed it. If you did it this time, I wanted to get in on that action, but just because it's uplifting and positive, and as metal people, we're always declared, Satan is dark and whatever. We keep our dark. Dark is where it's supposed to be, we get it out.
yeah,
But
yeah.
there's always an uplifting. I'm not saying, to be religious or not religious, but you guys do this thing. Is it a regular thing you do before a show?
Yes. So we usually do it as a part of our VIP meet and greet. It's something that I think the band has done since 2013, maybe 2014, I think is when it first started happening. And at first it was just like between the band before, they would take the stage. But I think within the last, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years of the band, maybe longer, they started making it a part of the VIP package and making it a part of the experience to where like people who purchase VIP could come in and join in on the prayer circle, take photos, sign autographs, and stuff like that. And so now it's become like a regular thing to where even if we don't have VIP, we still just do it as a band. It's something that we've been doing at least since I've been in the band. I don't know how consistent it was before. As far as I know, it's always been a thing. Again, I think since 2014, I want to say is when Rich and everyone started doing it. But yeah, it's been pretty much a staple before we take the stage every show.
I love it. I think it's awesome. Just like, pre-game, kind of, the Star Spangled Banner before the hockey game, before the puck drop.
Yeah, yeah,
It seems to be working for you, right? I mean, am I
Yeah.
wrong?
Well, yeah,
Um,
and it's definitely an experience too because I think it affects a lot of people no matter their background, or no matter like how they come up or where they come from. I think it affects everyone either equally or differently, but I think a lot of people benefit from the experience of it. Again,
definitely,
regardless of what background they come from.
definitely.
mhm.
Eric, are you gonna catch these guys when they're in town again, back in
Heck
home?
yeah, yeah. Like if y'all play out at Come and Take It, roll on out there and come see y'all. That'd be fun.
Yeah, and again, we usually come and take it. Um, Usually every year. I think there was a
Mhm.
year to where we skipped it, but we usually come back there every year. So
Right.
I love coming to that spot. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
I
It's got
Yeah.
see.
good air conditioning. I remember going there in the summer. I'm like, man, this place air conditioning is top notch. It's
There
hard
you
to
go.
find in Austin. A lot of places like, oh god damn, it's hot here.
Yeah, that's a prerequisite for working in Texas, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that was a question I have for you. Texas heat or Texas cold? I
God,
guess I can go for everybody there.
Texas cold without a doubt. Oh my
I would
God.
say Texas cold too, because it doesn't last as long as the heat.
Well, no, and not only okay, so like again, I born and raised in Denver, very dry climate, and even like living in Washington for a few years, very dry, and I've lived in Oklahoma for more than half of my life, so like I can't bitch because I should be used to it, but
Mhm.
the summers in the South are just ungodly, and
Yeah.
I think it's just because of the humidity and the stickiness and like you just can't ever escape it. And it seems like everything struggles when it's hot. When it's cold, everyone just kind of adapts and overcomes. When it's hot, it's like, you know, even if you're naked, you can't escape it. There's just no way.
That's true. Yeah.
And so yeah, I prefer Texas cold without a
Yeah. I'm gonna second that too.
doubt. Yeah,
Now let me tell
yeah,
you,
without a doubt.
Joey Mandigo of THC, Texas Hippie Coalition. I can't thank you enough for this. I'm gonna let you go in a little bit here. You still have to think about what song we're gonna go out with, but I do. There's a prominent question we ask all our guests here because we do cover horror movies here when we're not talking music, and sometimes we talk both. Are you a fan of horror movies at all?
Yes and no.
You
I'll be
get that a
honest with
lot
you.
too.
I haven't. Well, like I appreciate and I love horror movies, but like I'm not the guy that'll just go casually put on a horror movie, and just like or like an avid horror movie fan. But I do love and appreciate them. I'm just not like obsessed
Yeah,
with them, I guess so to
you
speak.
got a favorite or one that just
So, dude, the one that I watched 2 years ago, which I mean, dude, like the crazy thing with horror movies is that like the more they come out with, the more insane that they are. So,
oh
like,
man.
I'm sure the one I'm about to bring up to a lot of horror movie people is like, with everything that's come out recently. But Hereditary freaked me the fuck out.
Ah, that's a good one.
That one freaked me the fuck out, dude. And I think because of the storyline and it was one of those movies that like as soon as it got put on, I was really heavily invested into it. So like I was like paying attention to every detail. But my favorite kind of horror movies are the ones that are based on real stories, based on true stories. I think those are my favorite. The more or less like fictional ones, I like them. But I like watching a horror movie and like feeling something after, like, oh my God, that actually happened. Like, no way, like that's insane. Like Veronica, I think there's one called Veronica that was on Netflix for a while, and that one
Yeah,
really
I
freaked
saw
me.
that.
That Yeah, that one really freaked me out too
That
because that was like a true story. But yeah, I like true horror stories.
that was a good one. Yeah, Veronica was a good one. Yeah,
Yeah, that was weird.
see, that's the thing. You say you don't like them, but you picked out two very strong ones.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot that I've seen that I've missed. But I mean, again, it's been a long time since I've sat down and like, what horror movie am I gonna watch?
Well, we were talking about earlier about the ballads and stuff. I don't look at your songs, the slowies as ballads. Like you still got like I'm Getting High, that song. It's just kind of like a smooth kickback, like I'm waving off negativity, saying back off, this is
Yeah,
my time type of thing. I respect that song a lot, and I don't like slow songs at all. But that one I'll make room for. And
for
man,
sure.
when oh, how could I forget? Which album is that on? Teach Angels how to fly. I teach
Oh,
angels
Name
how to
Lives
fly.
On. Yeah,
He just
yeah.
croons. He just croons on that one, man. And you get the emotions out, which I try to
Yes.
avoid, but you guys make appreciate that. Not. But we appreciate you. And you do have to pick the last song we go out with. It's getting a little tougher now.
Hmm.
You could think on that. Erica, do you have something else for Joey before we say goodnight?
I think we covered everything tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I want to get you back with your other bands now too, sir.
Yeah,
Kitty
absolutely, man. Oh, I love the kitty.
She came up. She's like, "What are you guys doing over here?"
Oh,
What's
I
her
Like,
love
you
name?
the
ever got Jen?
kitties.
What was her name again, Erica?
Birdie or Roberta. Roberta, but we call her Birdie.
Okay.
I love it.
She looked like a
Um,
bobcat when we first found her. We're like, "Is she part bobcat?" I was like, "Roberta, Birdie." So she's just a little baby. She's only like 7 months old.
I
man, to be honest with you, I think I'm Getting High should be the last song.
I thank you.
And I say that because it's also like the last song on our record on Gunsmoke too. It's the one that kind of ends it. And so yeah, I would say probably I'm Getting High. Probably be the last song that I would pick.
We will do
All
that.
right.
We'll do that. And you see what? You know what, man? You are a good storyteller because that is the perfect ending to this story right here.
Right
Tonight,
on.
you guys carry it on elsewhere, of course, and forever. But I appreciate you so much coming on. Tell
Yeah,
everybody
man.
where they can
Yeah.
find Texas Hippie Coalition as well as your stuff. Can you just give that a
So
shout?
so so anything Texas Hippie Coalition will be THC official across all platforms. And then Joey Mandigo drums, you can find it on any social media platform too. Same username across the board.
Joey Madigo, thank you so much, sir. We're gonna go out
Yeah.
with that. We're
Yeah,
gonna
thank
go
you
out
guys for
that
having me on. This was awesome.
We'll
Yeah,
go
it was
out.
a great talking with you.
I think Erica and I are gonna have to have you back, and we'll talk. Was it Deity? Was one of the bands?
Yeah, Dee and Locust Grove are my other two. Yeah.
If you don't mind, maybe sometime in the new year, or maybe whatever. We'll figure it out. But
Also, I real quick, I'm don't mean to interrupt, but
oh man,
you guys had a member of Zebra on the show, and No Telling Lies was a record that I spun a lot when I was younger, and so I really enjoyed that episode. That was really
this
cool.
thank
Oh,
you.
that's
That
cool.
means more to me than you would ever freaking realize, and that's
Yeah.
because the guy that listened to that show, Randy Jackson was on it. He was amazing.
Yeah,
He
super
haunted
cool.
he haunted Long Island for a long time too, in between New Orleans, and he was like up and down. But they played Long Island clubs a lot, and I grew
Yeah,
up seeing them. Like I again underage, there I am. But this three-piece band, the power that came out of him, that guy's voice. I mean,
incredible.
for me, it was like seeing Zeppelin at the age of 16, like, because it's as
Yes.
close as I was going to get. But thank you so much because that episode that he's on was put together by my friend Solon Sangaris, who has since left us. He died last month. And I've been
Oh, I'm
doing,
sorry to hear that.
no, it's okay though, because we've been celebrating his life and his recordings right here. He was in
Very
a
cool.
band called Uncle Fester out on Long Island, and we're playing all those episodes. He was on with me. He was an actor. And he got me that interview. So thank you. Full
How
circle.
awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yes. And,
cool.
and, and even like 3V was a decent record too that came out later on. And so, yeah, I listened to that episode when you first approached me about the show. And yeah, that was a great episode. That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I was rather green back then, and Solon had me going. He's a good dude. But
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you, my friend, are too. This is the best. You made my week. I don't know about you, Erica.
Heck yeah. Highlight of my week.
There you go. All right, and we'll talk again soon, and we'll go
Yes,
out
we
with
will.
your pick right here. And I guess I got to tell everybody fairlydarkproductions.com for all the episodes. And you could get us on Spotify, iHeartRadio. And gosh, we're 16 going on 17 years old. There's plenty to listen to. And that's why we pulled out that old Zebra one from about 2016. And yeah, so there you go. And I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. If I don't talk to you before then, we probably, I'll probably talk to you online before then.
Yeah,
And gosh, Happy New Year. And I hope your Thanksgiving was good. We didn't talk about Thanksgiving. Erica,
very good.
and we'll say goodnight. And I'm going to ask you to hold on for a moment, but I'm going to say goodnight to the folks right now. Good night, Erica.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
All right.